Commissioner, the European left appreciate your work and wish you all the best for the future. I will ask you a question about terrorism. Many politicians in Europe, they argue that the human rights framework prevents an effective fight against terrorism. So what are your response to this, and how will you advise your successor to prevent that terrorism destroys the human rights framework?
Europe has a sorry history of cutting corners on human rights in the struggle against terrorism, which has led to unneeded suffering and the prolongation of many conflicts. In the early 2000s, what we saw was the complicity of many European countries in arbitrary detention, torture, and so-called extraordinary rendition with the United States. That was a huge mistake. We gave ammunition, ideological ammunition to terrorists who could say, look, Europe is hypocritical. Look what they think about Muslims. Look how they treat our people. It's clear also that unbridled power for intelligence agencies and unbridled surveillance targeting everyone is a very dangerous path to go down, because it affects all kinds of human rights. Not only our right to privacy, but it can affect media freedom if journalists no longer believe that their sources are confidential. It can affect the rule of law and fair trials if lawyers no longer believe that their conversations are confidential. And it makes everybody a suspect, but particularly minority groups, Muslims, and other visual minorities. And this has a very corrosive impact on social cohesion. So I say to countries, yes, you must fight terrorism, but your struggle will only be successful in the long term if you do it within a legal framework, within the bounds of human rights, without stigmatizing certain communities. Because you need the cooperation of those communities to combat terrorism and radicalization effectively. You need this information, you need this communication. Yes, enhance the budgets and resources of your security services, but bolster your democratic oversight of security services as well, because it is in the interest of security services that everybody believe them, that they are not politicized, that they are dealing with these issues in the framework of a rule of law. And then when people criticize security services, they can turn to the overseers and say, let our overseers answer this question. They're better placed to know how well we are abiding by the rule of law. So I say we must fight against terrorism, but we must take the long view and not shoot ourselves in the foot through short-term measures that basically pander to public prejudices for being strong and stigmatizing certain groups. We have to take the long view.